Great to see you guys and gals. I sure appreciate the opportunity to visit with you again. It feels like not that long ago we were here talking about how to start building this program. I'd been here a couple of days and excited and happy to see some of you guys back that were here at that initial press conference, and the continual building of this program. It goes in phases. Signing day will always be a huge, important day in what this program becomes and who we are. And today was, you combine today with the signing class we had in December, added mid-year transfers, and you look at the group that we were collectively able to put together. I'm excited about the pieces of positionally how it looks. There were needs that we felt that we needed to address in the December signing date, which was done in very short time, a matter of days, and then another group of guys that we had the opportunity to sign and get here mid-year, which was really, really important, that we're able to identify, recruit, get on campus, and then get enrolled to be able to start in our winter conditioning program, our Winning Edge program, which will start next week, spring practice, which starts March 1st. Those guys, to have the experience to go through our program and the building and the relationship part of joining our current team, it's also important, and it's just yet another step in building this program. So sure excited about them. I think that there will be, the challenge that we have as coaches. We've got to be great teachers. We've got to make sure that every one of these 24, 25 guys that are on paper, the understanding and the expectation is for us to do a great job as coaches and teachers to get them ready to play and play this year. I said, a month ago, this is not a long-term rebuild project. This is a win-now project, and I expect the urgency for these guys to go to work and to come in with the attitude and the mindset that they're going to go be a starter, be a player right now to help us develop depth or become an every down player to help us go win. And I'm proud of our coaching staff. They did a tremendous job in my scope of being able to go identify talent, collectively put it together, get it guys on campus, and then sell the vision of what this program is and what this university is. But it goes way beyond that. I think you look at our recruiting department led by Kelsey Winkle, just did a tremendous job on bridging the gap of a coaching change, on finding ways to still connect with recruits, families, and the high school coaches. She orchestrated, with help, orchestrated all of our on-campus recruiting efforts with official visits. We had an addition with Mark Ouimet and Director of Operations, Brad Odom and Director of Player Personnel. Everybody played such a vital role in our organization on putting this together, but it doesn't happen unless you've got leadership from Eric Harper and Eric Nepomuceno on providing the opportunity for us to put the class together, just like we put the coaching staff together. So it all works together. There's great alignment on how we're going to continue to transform this program, and I'm so proud and honored and even more excited today, guys, than I was when I got the job, because I can see some of the things that I think and believe in UNLV that I thought it was going to become, and the things that are starting to play out. The vision is starting to happen and take place. We've also got an extremely long ways to go. We understand that, but I'm excited to have the opportunity to lead this group, put them in our locker room with our current team, and go to work. So with that, I would love to answer any questions about specific players, about anything with the recruiting cycle. And I appreciate you guys telling the story of UNLV football and our prospective student athletes, our current student athletes, because there's a lot of times you are the story for them to be able to tell that to our fans, the city of Vegas, and beyond.
Coach, especially with the offensive line and the way that you're going to play fast-paced, how important is it to have depth there, quality depth?
Yeah, you look at really this is going to be a line of scrimmage program. And talking offensive line, defensive line, we've got to be able to run the football. We've got to be able to stop the run. And the quickest order to do that is you better be really good up front. And whether you've got the people to do it or the schematics to do it, you've got to blend those things together and find a way to creatively run the ball. You've got to establish your identity on how important that is within our program on both sides. But I think, those positions, number one, we've got to find somebody that's going to play and start at center, because that spot is so important. And then you build it from there, and you cross-train, and you find guys that can play multiple positions. And then ultimately, you've got to get your best five, and then find a way to train them in those roles. And then who's your best interior player, and then who's your best edge player, tackle, and cross-train until you get the perfect mix. We also know that with injuries and attrition and some of those things, it's a fluid, every position's fluid. So we've got to do a great job continuing to identify guys that can win at a high level at those positions, and then finding ways to get them in the program. I will say, we're not done recruiting yet with this class. It'll continue to go on. This is our class as of today, and I'm really excited about them.
What were some of the challenges assembling this class, especially since you didn't really have a lot of time at the early signing day?
Yeah, I think number one, opportunities that we had with this class were putting the staff together, finding out geographically what the best spots for us to go hit to put the class together. And then, there's a matter of days that you can be on the road, and what does that look like, using it effectively to make sure that you weren't chasing something that maybe really wasn't there. And that's a little bit the newness of putting the staff together, but I'm not ever going to put or use an excuse on, a reason that we didn't go get a guy. If we identify, it doesn't matter if he's in the city of Vegas or somewhere else, identify a young man that we feel like we can recruit to this program, then let's go get him. And I thought our staff did a really nice job of evaluating, of communicating on establishing relationships, finding ways to get them to campus, to see what Vegas is, to see what UNLV is, the university side, the city, our athletic program, our football team. Once we get guys on campus, we're going to recruit against anybody in the country. I believe that. And I think there are guys that we had an opportunity to sign this year that they had a lot of options. And once they get here and they see our vision, they get around the people that we have, which I think is the most important quality, and they see the opportunities to get a degree from here, how important that is for the next 40 to 50 years of their life. We're gonna end up putting together classes that will win championships.
You talked about transfers at your introductory press conference, portal and all of that. How you've got a handful of kids here. How did that go in terms of interest, and were you happy with that?
I thought, number one, I want to focus on high school recruiting, and I think that's evident of the class that we put together. I think a little bit as we go, I'm going to get to your question, a little bit as we go in college football recruiting, it's transitioned a little bit now in the last 2 years, year and a half, on, well, let's go get the 1 year portal guy and bring him in. If you do that over and over, in my opinion, for that, there's a place for that. But also, if you do that this year, well, guess what you're doing next year? You're going to have to do the same thing, and then you're going to have to do the same thing. Where's the foundational approach of building a program? Where's the developmental phase of bringing in a high school class and developing guys over 2-3 years, and then by their third year in the program, they're have been trained and ready to go. I thought that our staff and organization did a great job of identifying needs that we could get in the portal or transfer, and getting those guys identified early, build a relationship, get them on campus, and get them signed. So of the 25 guys we signed, I believe 10 or 11 were transfers, either junior college or portal, and all of those guys, the expectation is for them to come in and help immediately.
You mentioned kind of recruiting footprint a little bit. What would be your preferred recruiting footprint as you continue to build the staff? Yeah,
2024 recruits, we're going to sign a great number from the city of Vegas. There's some high-level elite players in this city in next year's signing class, and we've had almost every one of them on campus in January. That's just the relationship part of starting the building process of recruiting them. But I want to be relentless in the city, and that's where it starts. And, you know, that's easy to talk about, and now we got to go do it. And that's our charge as coaches. That's our charge as an entire organization. It should be our charge as a university. Okay, I want a student athlete, a young prospective student athlete that grows up in this city, they look at UNLV football, and we can achieve any goal that they want to achieve as being a college football player. And we're not going to take a backseat to anybody in those regards.
Coach, you talk about players being ready to go now, and with quarterback Bo Edmondson, comes from college, comes from high school, comes from Lake Travis, senior year wasn't able to play much, has back injuries, and reportedly has a herniated disc and a bulging disc on his back. When do you know if he's ready to go, or does he have a timetable yet?
Yeah, he's healthy. I feel like that we've got a full medical report on Bo, and sure excited about. If you look at that program, Lake Travis, they're competing for a championship in the state of Texas every single year. Usually the quarterback from that team, they started throwing the ball at about age 2 or 3. He falls into that. He's a high-level player, great football IQ, tremendous competitor. He's the things that you want to identify at playing the quarterback position. He kind of has every part of those physical qualities, but he's also got the it factor on what it looks like on leading a team. So we're excited to get him here. He's going to be thrown into and go compete, and let's see how far we can get him in position to help us go play this year.
You guys brought in 5 defensive backs. Was that a position of need that you mentioned, and is there a common trait amongst these defensive backs you're looking for your defense?
Yeah, I think, number one, we wanted a little bit on position versatility on the defensive side, whether they're a nickel or a boundary corner or a field safety. A lot of those spots on how we're going to play is interchangeable. So there will be times that we're playing with 6 DBs on the field, and that goes back to the question about depth. I mean, that's really important. I think most of these guys have shown us, either through portal or junior college transfer, they got experience. The high school kid that we signed, Cameron Jenkins, out of Louisville, out of Texas, I think he's a tremendous prospect. We just had him on campus last weekend on his official visit. Wonderful young man, a lot of maturity. He's a guy that can play a lot of spots, as are the other guys we signed. But I think you look at coverage skills, you look at the ability to fit in the run, so the physicality part of playing the position. And then in our defense, if you can find a corner that you feel really comfortable in playing man coverage and can eliminate some of the things to the boundary with playing man coverage to that side, that frees up a lot of things. So I thought Coach Maggs and Coach Davis did a great job on getting a really good group of defensive backs that can come in and help us.
Coach, D'Angelo Irvin, listed as an athlete. Where do you plan on playing him? He's played on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think, I look at, number one, we're going to start him on the offensive side. And I think he's got unique abilities. And I grew up close to Midwest City High School growing up, so I know historically it's a really good program. And he's dynamic with the ball in his hands. He played quarterback for them. I'm not saying he can or cannot play quarterbacks. The film that I think that most people have seen are him just running the ball. They're snapping the ball and running. He can throw the ball. I mean, he's talented. He is a talented player. He's really good with the ball out in space. He's got elite change of direction, really good quickness, start and stop. We're excited about him. We, knew about him. I knew about him from my previous school. Coach Weiss did as well. There's a lot of connections in that state. And it went down the stretch. He was pursued by a lot of different schools, and I feel like he will be a playmaker for us that will find the field early.
There's been a lot of attrition in your D-line room, only 2 signees in this class, but what did you like about those 2 guys in the early signing day?
Well, we had 3 high school defensive line signees, so I'm excited about all 3 of those. They'll be here. They're not early signees. They'll be here in June 5th, I believe is the date we get started. excited about the ability that they have to come in and help us. They've got all over close to 300 pounds or over. So physically, I think they've got a chance to step in and help us right away. And then Xavier Carter, the transfer from LSU, I think he can play a number of spots. He'd be a defensive end, edge rusher. He can be a linebacker. He can be a jack into the boundary. He is similar versatility-wise to a guy that we had last year named Drew Sanders that, transferred to us from Alabama, and we moved him a lot of different ways. He led the SEC in sacks. Either find out the skill set of what your players can do, and then you build the defense or build the offense schematically around them. And, Xavier, I don't exactly know when we roll out on March 1st exactly what spot he's going to line up, practice one. But I know that he is versatile enough to play 3, 4, maybe even 5 spots. So it's our job to find the best one for him and let him understand the scheme and then be able to use his abilities and play fast.
So does that mean Matthew Green is expected to be on the defensive side of the ball?
There's been a great discussion in the staff room, and I'm going to pull out the head coaching card on this one. I'm more of a defensive guy with him. He's going to start out at defensive line. And if Vance Weiss wants to argue and wrestle with anybody, I need some help. I need some backup. He's a big guy. He'll start at D-line, and we'll go from there.
Can you talk about what you look for in running backs in the go-go offense?
Yeah.
There are a couple guys on the field. I just wanted to mention that a lot of the guys you signed, and maybe some more transfer portal guys who are coming, are like 5'6" to 5'10", 180 down to 155. So what are you looking for in the running backs in this offense?
Well, I think, a number of explosiveness. They need to protect the football, but I want them to be able to, on third down, if they need to pass protect, they pass protect, right? I want them to be elusive out in space. I want them to be physical runners. They're going to have to be versatile on the way that they play. But you look at Cornell Ford, the last 3 running backs we had when we were coaching together at Missouri are all 3 playing in the NFL, and they're all 3 different backs. They're different physically. Tyler Beatty, Larry Roundtree, Damari Crockett, all 3 completely different styles, different physicality measurements. But Cornell's he's a tremendous coach and developer of talent. And I know Coach Marion's got a great idea on, if we're going to use 1 back, 2 backs, 3 backs at times on how to get our playmakers the ball out in space and how it all tie together. But, the ability to look at, if you go from DJ to Jet on the physicality differences, they're different. But the skill set and how we utilize those guys, there'll be a lot of cross-training to get them both on the field.
From a recruiting standpoint, when it comes to like Xavier Carter, for example, a 4-star guy comes in from LSU, does it help optically at all to say, hey, this former 4-star SEC player wants to come play at UNLV?
Well, I would think so. And, we all have, as a coaching staff, we've got history of guys that we've had a chance to either transfer or high school and how you develop them. Jalen St. John was a 4-star offensive guard or offensive lineman coming out of high school. So we've got a number of those guys. There's a lot of times we get tied into stars and, that we can lose track on, okay, let's look at the potential of developing the student athlete on what that looks like. And I think both of those guys, at some point, I think that they will achieve the quote-unquote 4-star on the field play. I do. I think they've both got great ability. I think I'm fortunate that they're here because I think they can both be game changers for us.
To follow up on St. John, is he more of a guard or a tackle? And then building on that, do he and Haas have a chance to start right out of the gates?
Yeah, I think with Jalen, I think he does have position versatility up front. I've seen him snap the ball so he can play center as well. And that's huge. It'll be interesting to see how he fits with his movements and the things that Coach Weiss will do with that group up front. And then you mentioned Jack Haas, the guy since he was on his visit. I mean, he was about business. He was very stoic, very mature in his approach on what he was looking for his next stop in college play. And has been exactly that since he stepped on campus. He's a competitor. He's got really good football sense and IQ, and And I know Coach Weiss is, the short time that he's had a chance to be around him in the weight room, what we thought we were going to get in recruiting is exactly what he's been since he's been here, and that's awesome.
Coach, do you have a date for the spring game yet?
April 8th, yeah, and I think we just got that kind of solidified today. So we're going to start on March the 1st. We'll get 5 practices in before spring break, and then we'll come back with 10 following. I like the format. It's a little bit of, the times that have had a chance to put the schedules before, together. A little bit of a break during spring ball is good for a lot of reasons. But also I want to start early. So we're starting March the 1st. We'll have a great, 2-week cycle of practice, go away for spring break, come back, and finish up on April 8th, and that'll be in Allegiant. And I look forward to the development of our team on making sure from practice 1 to 2, there's a lot of improvement. And then you look from 1 to 15, we'll look like hopefully a different and better football team.
Is the spring game actually a game? Because the last couple of years, it was more of a scrimmage and drills.
Yeah, I would sure love to do that. A lot of that obviously will depend on depth. Right now, the depth that we have, could we field a team that would go against each other? We do right now. Will those numbers still be intact when we get into April? I would sure love the opportunity to do that. I'd like the fans to be able to see, a team working against a team, and honestly, it'd be good for the coaching staff on working we'll simulate as many scrimmage situations as the rules will allow throughout spring ball. I can't give you a concrete yes or no. This it depends on injuries and how things go as far as our numbers. I know that Mark Wallington said if we get low on offensive line numbers, he'd step in, and so we shook on it. I think we even hugged on it, so it's done. So if we get low on numbers, he's more of a guard, not pulling type. You're more of a guard.
You've got a handful of guys here already in January. Just from your past experience, how important is that to their development, and how much of an edge does that give them?
Yeah, it's awesome because they get to go through, the winter conditioning program. They're going in the mornings right now, lifting and running, and the developmental phase of that. And then next week we kick into what I call the Winning Edge program. That was, I learned it from Gary Pinkel, who learned it from Don James over the years. And it's vitally important to the success of our program and the building of what that looks like. So these guys that are mid-year guys, they get to go through all that. So when we get started in June, they're not new anymore. I'm going to lean on them as veterans of the program. So it'll be a huge part of the development of our program.
Any unique challenges in still using a fax machine in 2020?
That was a joke. I got interesting comments, I was told. I didn't look at them. But I don't know why we still have that upstairs, but it's there. And I thought, you know what, I remember years and years ago when you're sitting there staring at the fax, just waiting on it to make the noise to come across. And I thought somebody would get a kick out of that this morning.
We mentioned plug and play with the older guys. Of all the guys you brought in, is Jackson Turner the guy who probably has the best chance of going right in?
As soon as I don't want to,
yeah,
I don't want to just say one guy. I mean, it's our job as coaches. We got to get every one of them ready to go play, and I want them to have a clean slate. Everybody in our organization, they got a blank sheet of paper, and we get to go write the story together. And I want them all to have opportunity. I want to get the best. If we get the best out of every student athlete in our organization, we're going to be a really good football team.
How important is it for the guys, the holdovers, especially at that position? You brought in a lot of defensive backs, for everyone to know, hey, the fight is on. You still have a chance to play.
Oh, it's so important. I mean, right now we won't have a depth chart. And we're going to go out, we're going to go compete, and try to get as many equal reps as we can, that everybody's got the opportunity to go prove what they can be. And then the development from practice 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 on how good we can get these guys and how good we are as teachers and coaches. The thing about spring ball and really all 12 months of the calendar, but But man, you can spend so much time teaching the game and the fundamentals and the habits of consistently on what that looks like. I'm excited, and you know, the thing that's great right now, and you go out on the field, and it doesn't matter if you're a senior or a freshman or a walk-on or a scholarship guy, it doesn't matter. We get to go coach them. We get to teach them, and we get to try to put them in position to be 6-second competitors, to play tough and physical, to know their assignments, and to do it with great energy and enthusiasm. And those things that makes it fun. And you know, the building of a program, there's always progress. You're always making progress in some area, academically, socially, spiritually, on the football field. It's been a fun month and a half, and we're just getting started, and I'm sure excited to add these guys into the mix.
Football this weekend, Coach. You got East-West Shrine game and the Pro Bowl here. I assume you're going to be watching a lot of football this weekend?
Man, you know what's amazing is everything sports-wise funnels now through Vegas. You look at the Pro Bowl, like you mentioned. East-West Shrine game is here. I had 4 players that I coached last year at Arkansas that were here in the Shrine game, and I got to catch up with them. I got the chance to visit with Coach Belichick and Coach Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith, I coached his brother when I was a coordinator at Memphis, so I knew the family really well. But then you look at Vegas, and you look at the opportunity that's here. You look at, okay, we got the Pro Bowl, we got the Shrine game, and we got the Super Bowl next year. Vegas is becoming the sports mecca of America. And for us to have the ability to be on showcase, to be here, UNLV football, that's a really a selling point that if you really take a step back and look and think about the things that we're going to accomplish together in this program, it's off the charts. It's really exciting. And I've got a couple guys that are on the coaching staff of the Kansas City Chiefs, and I got one player, Nick Bolton, that we recruited and coached that plays linebacker. He had like 180 tackles this year for the Chiefs. They're playing in the Super Bowl. A lot of really cool stuff going on here in the next couple of weeks.
You answered my question. I didn't have to ask. You use that as a recruiting tool.
There you go.
Thanks.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great day.